Welcome to Pitch Perfect Families, brought to you by Peak Music Studios. I'm Jeff Moore, your host, and today we are going to talk about what makes practice effective. And most practice, so I'm going to say this out loud and tell you something you already know if you've been involved in music or you've had a child that is involved in music. Most practice is unproductive and painful. Let me tell you why. Most practice is not focused on what is needed most. What is needed most, and this has been shown in effective music programs and in research. So you combine those two together. What is effective? It is a practice program that is individualized, leading to a student outcome that is desired by the student, and in this case, the student and the family. You have an outcome that you expect. Most programs, and this is the vast majority of programs, they either tell you what your outcome is going to be. This is what you're going to learn. You're going to learn to play the instrument, and I've got a program, and here it is. And they play out of books, or they just noodle around and do what they feel like they should. And that leads to very slow progress indeed. All right. So what makes an effective practice regimen? Well, it's short and it's effective. Those two things lead to doing it more often, which makes it even more effective, which is why with our beginning vocalists and beginning guitarists, we have practice regimens that are 10 minutes or less, but we expect that they're going to be done 5 to 7 days a week. Now, most children and most parents say this is doable. It's very easy to do. When you get down to it, it is probably the most difficult part of the musical process. This is the first and major hurdle to get over, in addition to deciding that you're actually going to play the instrument. What you need to do is provide a rich, supportive environment to allow practice to occur. It's not a punishment. It is part of the daily routine. And we'll talk about setting that into your daily routine later. But what is the most effective practice regimen? It is focused on skills needed to develop the musician that you want your child to be. That is why it needs to be short, because it's going to be work. And 10 minutes of hard focused work is enough for any beginning musician. Absolutely. For the first year or so, 10 minutes or less, it is the recommended track. If you try to say, I want my child to fast track, so I'm going to have them play 45 minutes a day. Now, in specialized circumstances, that may work, but the likely outcome of that is repetitive motion injuries or fighting about practicing and eventual dropping of music as a pursuit. And we don't want that. If you can develop that 10-minute habit on focus. So what does the practice routine have in it? Number one, it focuses on the basic skill sets needed by the child so that they can play the instrument, including voice, the way they want to. This is going to be individualized. It should change every week or two. This is why just singing songs or getting on YouTube or reading a book is not going to do it. It needs to be changed based as the child's skill set changes to keep them in the optimal track to progress quickly. That's what differentiates all of the legions of beginning and intermediate musicians that have been there for decades from those who get to the top of their capabilities, and that is the focus. You don't want to be better than other people. You want to be the best you can be. And that is a pursuit that you continually address, and that 10-minute a day practice schedule, if it is the right material, works wonders. So it has to be a technical skill set. So let me explain that a little bit so you understand what I'm talking about. It could be a scale. But if it's a scale, it needs to be done to a rhythm track, because you're either focused on, are you matching pitch? Is your articulation good? Or are you keeping up with the drum track? And you either increase the qualitative portions of that, which is how it sounds. Is it good music? And or the speed. And those should be iterative. You should have 100 repetitions of this exercise. For instance, if you've got a child on guitar, it should be 100 repetitions of hammer and pulls at this speed or an increasing speed. If you're a vocalist, it's going to be these intervals jumping over your break at 50 beats per minute or whatever is appropriate for your child. That is what sets aside a program. It is getting someone who knows what they're doing to give your child the appropriate workout. You and the child setting aside 10 minutes each day for them to focus on that, and really allowing several months for that to set in as a habit in a supportive environment. And you are going to be astounded at the amount of improvement you will see over time. So short, focused, and optimized, individualized. That's what you need for the perfect practice program for your child. I'm Jeff Moore with Peak Music Studios.